Hi ladies, it's Glenn Depke from Depke Wellness, and I'm here to discuss some of the fears about aging. I recently posted something on social media that had a huge response. Literally thousands of women saw this. Hundreds had actually commented as to really what you're afraid of when it ties into the aging process. Now, because of this response, I felt it essential to actually do this video today to help you understand one of the big concerns, underlying factors as to why aging would potentially even be a concern or worry for you. So that overall process that I'm going to discuss today is something I refer to as the death of a woman. Now, when I talk about the death of a woman, this is not a literal death, but it's more of a figurative death that I'm going to explain very easily for you very shortly today. Now, the first thing to understand is the natural aging process. Now, if we think about how most people, and likely yourself right now, think of the aging process, it's something that we just witnessed. And basically we notice that in our 20s, we're healthy and we're vibrant, full of energy. In our 30s, maybe we start gaining a little bit of weight, especially around the midsection or the hips, and we start to feel a little bit fatigued and have some very low level nagging issues. And then we get into our 40s, now the weight becomes a bigger issue, and the little nagging issues become much more prominent, chronic issues with our health. In your late 40s and into your 50s, now the struggles with menopause and deeper health issues, more weight gain, and into the 60s, 70s, and beyond, definite concerns about things like dementia, Alzheimer's, continued weight gain, potentially risk factors for cancer or cardiovascular disease. And then at some point, then we end up in a path of a constant use of medications and maybe even surgeries and other interventions with conventional medicine, and then we die. Now, I don't know about you, but if that's a natural aging process, sign me out. I want nothing to do with that. And ladies, I want you to understand that that's not how it happens. What we recognize and what you're potentially recognizing by this yourself right now is that's basically watching sick people get older. That is not the natural aging process. So what I have on the board here, right here, is what we would consider the natural aging process. And I just put some numbers in here to help understand, but let's say this is starting at 20 years old and we have going to 97. Now, what should happen in your life is you should have just a very slow, steady decline in your health. But notice, it's not much of a decline. So throughout your life, you should maintain a high level of vibrancy, energy. You should still be able to maintain what you would consider a healthy weight. And you really shouldn't be developing these chronic issues such as challenges with the brain and neurodegeneration. You shouldn't be developing cancers, cardiovascular disease, and such, because you should be able to maintain that high level of vibrancy. But the simple fact is, we're all going to die. I'm going to die. You're going to die. And at some point, what happens in this process of the natural aging process is you go, again, on the slow, steady decline from 20, let's say, until 97. We're picking a random year. And then you have a deep, dramatic drop-off, which is going to be relatively quick, and then we expire, and then we die. That's where we just check out. So at this point is the longer-term result of our life, but I want you to recognize you should be enjoying this high level of vibrancy until you're very close to that. Now, the problem though, and especially for women, this doesn't occur on this level for a very important and essential reason to understand. You see, somewhere around 50, so I'm going to put this right here, and we're going to call this 50 years old. Somewhere around 50, maybe in your younger 40s or mid 40s, or maybe a little bit after 50, but that's when you go through the transition that's known as menopause. Now, menopause, first off, what does menopause mean? What is menopause? And menopause, very simply, just should be a very simple transition, symptom-free, short of no longer having your period and no longer being able to bear children. But this should be a very simple transition from the function of your ovaries producing female hormones into the function of your adrenals producing and maintaining the proper female hormones you need to still maintain this high level of vibrancy. So if everything is working correct in here, we don't even have to think of a word menopause. short of, again, enjoying the fact that you don't have a monthly cycle and you don't have to be concerned about childbearing anymore. And now with that, we recognize that the term or the word menopause has actually been created to define symptoms, to define things like hot flashes, sleeplessness, brain fog, weight gain, so many other challenges, and often leading into chronic ailments, risk factors for cardiovascular disease, risk factors for cancer, risk factors for neurodegeneration, the development of dementia and Alzheimer's, and the list really goes on. But here's the key factor, and this is what I referred to, I mentioned earlier, the death of a woman. See, what typically happens with so many women is at this time, at 50, what happens, instead of you just maintaining that slow, steady decline, there's a deep, dramatic drop-off, and then it kind of goes off into another steady decline. But you see this area in here that I'm going to color in red right now, this is what I refer to as the death of a woman. All right, and now, as I said earlier, this is not a literal death. You're not dying in here. But what's happening is as you're transitioning through menopause with poor stress hormone production, so now your adrenal glands don't have the ability to actually allow you to maintain that high level of vibrancy. That same quick dramatic die-off that you should have near the end of life, you actually have it much earlier in life, and then you kind of taper off. But then think about this. Do you really want to live the rest of your life, maybe that other 48 years or that 47 years down here? Or would you rather live that up in this level? And what I want you to understand right now, and this is so essential, and I say this because of my deep concern for women on a regular basis within our center here, is that you can actually do this. Even if you've dropped into this, as I refer, death of a woman, you can actually recover from this and allow your body to balance and basically get back into that healthy cycle. So even if you drop off and you come down here, you can get this back and get right back up to there. And who doesn't desire that as a woman, especially if you're already suffering from some level of health issues or challenges because of this transition that is referred to as menopause. I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to view this video, and I look forward to continuing to share valid and really essential and necessary information with you about your health. I'm Glenn Depke from Depke Wellness. Thank you so much for your time.